Hey adventurers, how's everyone doing today? Today I want to talk to you a little bit about probably one of the most important aspects that you need in order to create a global career and live abroad. Now, when I was interviewing hundreds at this point of successful expats, I would ask them, like, how did you find a job? What did you do? What steps did you take? Where did you go? What was your salary? And I would pull out all those pieces that were really similar and stood out in my mind. And one of the things that I didn't even realize, but I heard time and time again when I would ask, what do you think made you successful in getting abroad and becoming a international professional? Because a lot of these people that I talked to and that I did talk to when I was investigating the best program for She Works Abroad were serial expats, or people that had spent a lot of time abroad, either for in a like long-term position with a company, short-term, working and traveling for a job, etc. And the one thing that came up that was surprising to me, and sometimes people are like, oh yeah, but tell me the good stuff, but this one is really, really, really critical, was that these individuals had built what I call a global careerist mindset. And while the mindset aspect of things, maybe it's not as sexy as like what goes in my resume, or what professional skills do I need, or where do these jobs exist and how do I apply for them. Without the mindset, I have found that nothing happens. So in helping individuals find international jobs, the one thing I always look for and the one thing I always help them build is a global careerist mindset. Because with this mindset, you can go so far. And so there's 3 pieces of the mindset that I want to talk to you about, because you can start cultivating them now and really springboard your opportunities to work and to live internationally. So the first one is that the first part of creating a global careerist mindset is that I want you to start to believe that going abroad is not a one and done. Meaning that sometimes when I talk to people, they say, I just want to go abroad for a year and then I want to come back. Or they kind of like relate it to study abroad, which is like 6 months. I want to go for 6 months, have this experience, and then be able to like bring it back. As a professionals, usually it's like 1 to 2 years. And while I completely get that, maybe that is, you just really want to go abroad for 1 to 2 years, and I think that is totally fine. It's the mindset that you need to have to cultivate that opportunity. And the people that have been successful in cultivating great opportunities don't look at working abroad as a one and done. Meaning they're open to different opportunities to work abroad, maybe on a short-term basis or on a long-term basis or on a project basis, etc. So they're not trying to do like a really, really narrow vision of the opportunity. They're like, I'm going to work abroad whenever it makes sense for my career and whenever it is personally makes sense for me too. So they've opened themselves up to having more opportunities by saying, I'll work abroad when it makes sense all throughout my career. And that gives you the ability to say, like, it works for me now, it doesn't work for me later, but you entertain the idea of working abroad throughout your career. The second huge aspect of creating a global mindset, which will help bring you opportunities, cultivate interesting opportunities 100%, is to not decouple living abroad from having a career. I see this unfortunately regularly, and I call it the boomerang effect. I've talked about it with you guys before, which is the idea of that someone thinks in order to work abroad or have international experiences, what they need to do is they need to work really hard in a job and work for 2 to 3 years and work so hard and burn themselves into the ground. And then at that point, when they're so burned into the ground, they're like, I just need to get out of here. I'm dying, I'm trapped. They decide that sorry, I have so many things popping up on my screen. They decide that they're gonna go take some time off, right? So they're gonna take a sabbatical, they're gonna go travel for 6 months, and they go and they travel and they have this amazing experience, but then at the end of 3 months, 6 months, they need to go make money again. And in order to make money, they have to go back to their home country, they need to find a job, and then they do it again. They work really, really hard for 2 to 3 years. So they see traveling and living abroad as different than working abroad. And this just isn't sustainable unless you have the means to be able to not work and just kind of live anywhere, which if that's the case, please call me and tell me your secret. Most of us have to work in order to sustain our lives. And decoupling living abroad from working abroad means that it's unsustainable for you to be spending that much time internationally. So think of your career as a means to live internationally, as a means to travel and to go to exotic places. I always say the best travel that I've done and the most extensive travel that I've done has been through my career, has been through work. I personally have taken some great trips, but I have been able to take way more trips to way more exotic locations through work and through my career. So don't decouple those. Think of work and living abroad together. And the third piece of creating a global mindset, which people told me about time and time again, was embracing that life has its changes. So essentially, what worked for you in your early 20s might not work for you in your late 30s when it comes to working and living internationally. Occasionally, I'll have a conversation and someone will say, I need to do this right now. This is the open opportunity for me. And that is true. Sometimes we have a really good window of opportunity that we need to capitalize on and we need to propel ourselves to get abroad. But that doesn't mean that in the future your circumstances might change and you might have to ebb and flow to be able to meet the new demands of your life or the new opportunities that arise internationally. So have flexibility around what this looks like and when it can happen to you, and plan living and being abroad and traveling abroad as part of your career. Meaning that what worked for me last year in that job might not work for me this year in this job. But I know in my head, because I'm a global careerist, I have a global mentality, that I am open to different opportunities to live and work abroad throughout my entire life. So those are the three big ones that time and time again successful expats would tell me that would shape their thinking around how to build out a global career successfully. So you can start cultivating those today and start thinking about how you're going to spend your career and become an international professional 100%. So that's a little bit about the mindset that you need to have to get in great shape in order to find awesome opportunities abroad. All right, everyone, have a good one. Bye.